For more on the talks in Paris, we're joined by Stephen Fish. He's a professor of political science at the University of California Berkeley. Thanks so much for joining us, Stephen. Give me your thoughts on all of this. Russian President Vladimir Putin, speaking on a French radio station, said earlier that there is no reason to think that President Obama does not want to talk to the Russian president. It's his choice. I'm ready for dialogue. You think we'll see some?
It's possible, but even if they get together and speak together, I don't think we'll necessarily see very much progress. The United States and its Western allies and Japan in the form of the G7 and Russia are on very different pages on this conflict, and I cannot see any meeting between Putin and Obama really changing that.
Now, he will be having meetings with Cameron, Hollande, Merkel. Why not sit down and talk to him, try and iron out some differences?
Well, the problem with President Putin is that, again, our positions are so diametrically opposed on this issue. I don't really see what differences could be ironed out. President Putin is intent on continuing with his push to destabilize parts of eastern Ukraine and to bring Russian influence to bear, or to heighten Russian influence in Ukraine. Western powers are not amenable to that. I do think that Western powers have probably already recognized the de facto incorporation of Crimea into Russia. There's not much talk about that right now, and I think they've already accepted that. I think the big issues now have to do with East Ukraine and with whether Russia is going to respect this very valuable post-World War II norm that great powers do not swallow up the territory of smaller, weaker neighbors and annex it simply because they're militarily able to do so.
You heard Nathan's report. The French president wants to enable dialogue between Putin and Ukraine's new president. Do you see that as an important step? Do you think that's likely? Is that more important than Putin and Obama meeting?
That certainly is more important than Putin and Obama. President Obama said if he meets with President Putin, he's going to just repeat what he's been saying all along. And we know how President Putin responds to that. And President Putin will tell President Obama what he's been saying all along. But for the new president of Ukraine and President Putin to meet is really a bigger deal. They have a lot to talk about. They are personally acquainted, but they don't know each other as heads of state yet, of course. And those two are going to have a lot to talk about. So I think that actually is probably more important.
Angela Merkel, of course, has had dialogue with the U.S. president as well as the Russian president. There are some who believe that perhaps she can kind of help to kind of broker something. Hollande, obviously, taking steps in France to try and do something. Is there a point person out there on the international stage that you see who could really kind of help in moving things along in a sense?
To be honest, I don't. I think that there are leaders, of course, who would like to make progress on this. I think that includes Chancellor Merkel and others. But, you know, I really don't see that there is a point person out there. To be honest with you, this is the kind of situation that requires more than just competent managers. Someone like Chancellor Merkel or President Obama, Prime Minister Cameron, are really very good diplomats, and they're also very good administrators. But a situation like this calls for Churchills. It calls for people who have a broader vision and see bigger stakes. And it's not clear to me that the leaders we have right now actually see that.
Before we let you go, I want to ask you about sanctions. There was discussions about sanctions, and yet it seems like the European contingent has different stakes in place than the U.S. contingent. Is that a bone of contention for both sides, would you say?
Yeah, that's a good question, and that's what keeps the Western Alliance and Japan from coming together completely on this issue, is that European economies, and particularly Germany, are more exposed to the Russian economy. Germany relies on Russia for a great deal of its natural gas, the United States economy much less than Germany and other countries. So that's a problem, of course. And so the Germans will be less enthusiastic about sanctions, at least until Putin goes even further with his play for East Ukraine and his efforts to destabilize it. So, of course, that's a problem. Nevertheless, the Western Alliance can hold together with the right kind of leadership on the kind of sanctions, the kind of long-term pressure on Russia that could induce a change in behavior. Let's remember also that in the long run, European reliance on Russian gas is likely to decline. The United States is producing a lot more gas than it used to. The long-term prospects for European reliance on Russian gas are pretty good, which is to say it's probably going to decline over time. It's still very high right now, that reliance, but over time it seems to me like Russian influence over Europe will probably decline rather than increase.
Stephen Fish joining us from Berkeley, California. Thank you so much.